Let's head off to 178th Street and 118th Avenue. Josh Skurnick standing by with the latest. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning, Rob. Now, according to police, the truck came down 178th Street, didn't stop, and ended up in the brick wall behind me. Now, I want you to take a look at the viz from earlier this morning. You're looking at firefighters using a winch to get the vehicle out. The truck lodged well into the wall. Police confirm the lone driver of the vehicle died here. Dispatch got the call to this office building at 118th Avenue and 178th Street just before 3 o'clock. We don't have any details about the victim or the circumstances leading to the crash.
Suspect possibly alcohol is involved due to the direction of the vehicle and where it ended up into the building. We'll wait for a toxicology report.
Now, this is a live look as investigators inspect the truck. They say they have about 3 more hours of work here. Also, that the driver is still in the vehicle. This may cause some traffic tie-ups along this stretch of road as we head towards the morning commute. This crash here in the West End comes just 2 days after a 21-year-old female passenger in a BMW crashed into a White Ave apartment building and died at the scene. That one is still under investigation, but police do say they believe speed and alcohol were a factor in that one. Rob.
Josh Skurnick from West Edmonton this morning.
And Joel, this is what everyone is after, the Mountain Man coin. And yes, it is a participation award, but I think after something like this, no one's going to say that these soldiers don't deserve it. Joel.
It looks challenging, Josh. They certainly put themselves through the paces. Tell us a little bit more about who was competing in this.
Well, actually, they had soldiers from around the world. The UK and the US did show up. Not that many, but enough to, be notable. But no civilians. This is only for service members around the world to compete in. Joel.
All right, Josh, thank you very much.
CTV's Josh Skurnick joins us now with more details. Josh?
Bill and Brenna, Friday was about getting people to safety. Saturday, recovering essentials. Sunday is all about what's next. And for many, they could be on their own. Yeah, Daryl, for many of these residents, even now, this is the first time they've been able to go inside and see what's damaged. But now they're going in knowing that their nightmare was caused by a cigarette butt thrown into a diaper pail. Morning, Rob and Stacey. RCMP say they don't need any more help in locating the white van neighbors say sped away from Haley's home Monday morning. They found her.
I'm so sorry.
This is the scene after the devastating news broke in Blairmore around 9 p.m. last night. Victim Services announcing the vigil canceled and remains found to the crowd of family, friends, and residents who gathered outside Haley's home. Aaron and Joel, the farm I'm at, says that it relies on this stuff, hay, to feed its livestock. And this last cut that they had, they say they only got a third of what they usually do. Daryl, see these bales of hay? The Jesperson farm says it needs 20 times this to get through the winter and is looking at being about 200 short. One counselor says this could be the worst drought they've seen in 100 years. That is correct, Marnie, but before we get to that, I want to take a closer look at the scene. You can see workers beginning the cleanup process, cutting wood to actually start to cover up that hole there. But if you look in the lower right-hand corner of your screen, you can see that boulder beneath the tree. Well, that used to be where the grass meets the planting bed. The force of that truck actually pushed it out of the way before hitting the brick wall. Marnie, they're making no qualms about it. That's what they say they believe was behind the 30-year-old male driver jumping the curb, going right into the apartment building behind me, flipping over, leaving the young female passenger dead in the taped-off area around 2 a.m. Now, as you can see in this shot, the BMW is now gone, but you can still see the red awning. That's on the front yard. You can see police investigators still looking over the scene. The White Ave remains closed right now eastbound between 99 and 98th Streets. No word on when that will open back up, Marnie, but also no word yet on pending charges for the male driver. Back to you.
Thanks, Josh.
That's right, Daryl. They moved us because the winds actually picked up, and if you can look over here, you can see that the smoke is actually looking like a fog going along the street here all the way to 137 Ave. That probably will affect traffic. But we do know that, like I said before, this is a 3-alarm fire, but we are getting a better sense of the damage. You can look over there and you can see that it spans almost half of the condominium there. The roof totally destroyed. And I did talk to one resident. He says that when he was driving up here, he saw the flames coming out of the 3rd floor. He says he lives on the 4th. He doesn't know how much of his stuff is lost, but he says he's hoping for the best. But still, we can confirm that it actually started on the 3rd and worked its way off, totally engulfing the roof. Daryl.
Now, you touched on traffic. It was probably difficult even for you guys to get into that area. Crews would let you in, but traffic must be a mess in that area right now.
Oh, absolutely. 50th Street right now, no cars at all right here at that intersection with Manning Drive northbound, and that Manning Drive northbound is closed from 137 Ave all the way past 50th Street. No news on or idea of when it will open back up, but we will have an update. We're supposed to have one within this hour with the fire chief, and when that does happen, we will take it live and give it to you then, Daryl.
Right. Josh Skurnick reporting live on scene in Northeast Edmonton tonight. Thank you, Josh.
Joining us live now at City Hall, where you can see that rally is well underway. Josh?
Hey, Joel, you can see it's really heating up now. Both the taxi service and the Uber drivers, both scheduled rallies here at the same time, and as you can imagine, things are getting kind of heated here. We expected about 1,000 taxi drivers. They've been circling around for the past half hour, and we had about 50 Uber drivers here as well. So neither the taxi industry or Uber are happy with the proposed bylaw. Taxi drivers say the city has regulated their industry for 25 years now and suddenly wants to cave to pressure from a U.S. company. Their chief concerns, Uber can set its own prices and there's no cap on the amount of cars under the proposed rules. They say that will eliminate their full-time jobs. Calling the bylaw unworkable, Uber claims the proposed fees and red tape will deter people from signing up, leading to a more expensive and unreliable service. The city's plan will have Uber drivers get things like a criminal background check and annual vehicle inspection and cost $650 in fees. Both sides are making their cases vocal here.
The possible fallout, if this bylaw goes through as it is huge. I mean, you know, the taxi industry could be completely decimated. So our message is loud and clear that this needs to be sent back.
Don't be a goober! Let's keep moving! People are realizing they don't need a shiny piece of metal on the front of their car to help people in their community. The second you get commercial insurance, it doesn't make you a better driver by default.
As for the public hearing at 1:30, administration will make a presentation and report on the public consultation. Then more than 150 stakeholders, many of them most likely here, will give their 2 cents on this subject, each one getting about 5 minutes to make their say on this proposed bylaw. And yes, that does start at 1:30. And so once again, we were told that about 1,000 taxi drivers are here. They've been circling around for quite some time now, and about 50 Uber supporters that we saw, each side's being very vocal in this city's debate.
Obvious gridlock downtown now with that happening around City Hall, Josh. And getting back to the number of people who are speaking, 150 stakeholders will be speaking. They have 5 minutes each. I've been to City Hall before. That takes a long time. This hearing could go into tomorrow.
Well, they've already banked on it going to at least 9:30 p.m. tonight. That is a very long time for any public hearing. Then, if that's not enough, they booked a room from 9:30 to 12:30, half past noon, for tomorrow. So, a lot of things to hear.
All right, see what happens. Okay, thank you, Josh.
Morning, Rob and Stacey. And yes, it was a hastily called news conference yesterday evening, but since then, more people have come out from the woodwork commenting on Simon Farbrother's firing, including Farbrother himself. Now, this firing comes just a couple of weeks after Farbrother went before council and took full accountability for communication problems surrounding the Metro LRT line. After that meeting, at least one councillor implied that a change should be looked at. In making the announcement yesterday, Mayor Don Iveson said the Metro LRT line wasn't the only factor, but he would not go into details.
There's a cumulative set of factors that come into council's consideration. I'm not going to go into the details on those. It's not just about the Metro line.
We've been dealing with this all week. This certainly isn't a happy day for City Council, I can tell you that. There was a lot of discussion, a lot of reflection.
They want to proceed in a different direction, and that's fair. And these are the kind of decisions that they have to make. And in this case, I believe that they wouldn't have made this decision lightly.
Only Councillor Ben Henderson voted against the firing of Farbrother, who has been city manager since 2010. Now get this, Farbrother will get a severance package of $800,000. That's 2 years' salary plus benefits. Now, Farbrother released a statement to CTV last night saying he's proud of what he and the city accomplished in his 6 years as city manager, but he adds council has the right to make the change within the Municipal Government Act, and he respects that legislation. Robin Stacey, while the search continues, well, actually really begins for a new city manager, the GM of Community Services will take over Farbrother's responsibilities. Morning, Robin Stacey, and yes, it's finally here, but when I got to Churchill Square about an hour ago, a few dozen riders had already caught the wrong train to Nate. They were trying to get to Clairview. Remember, this is the first time that there are two different routes on one track, but overall the sentiment is that it is finally working and people can take it. Service on the Metro line between downtown and Nate, it actually started Sunday. Now that is 17 months later than planned, and because the signals along the line still don't work properly, the trains will crawl at about half the speed they're capable of. They actually go down to 10 kilometers an hour at some points. The city has advised passengers and drivers waiting at crossings and intersections to expect delays. For the riders going to Nate and even Royal Alex, slow is still a big improvement over what they had before.
The difference between the train and actual bus, it's significant difference. It's 10 times faster taking the actually LRT rather than bus. It's phenomenal.
I really am so excited. That's true, because I'm waiting and waiting.
Now, what will be especially interesting is the morning rush. Because the trains are traveling so slow, about 25 kilometers an hour, drivers are warned to expect delays of up to 16 minutes at such intersections as Princess Elizabeth, where I am, Avenue and 106th Street, and 111th Avenue and Kingsway. The Transportation Department will have an update around 11 a.m. this morning after the morning commute to tell us how it went and to see how the first big commute for the Metro Line LRT finally open went. Robin Stacey. Yeah, Robin Stacey. And after a 32-kilometer trek, each competitor puts one of these, a canoe, on their back for a 3.2-click portage. After that, it's a 10-kilometer paddle from Emily Murphy Park to Capilano Boulon. That was pretty heavy, so I'm glad I'm putting it down. I'll let the professionals here take it over from here. But